What is up, everybody? Welcome to Apocaflix Now. We are filming at night for the very first time. I am your host, Jacob Barley, and I am joined by a three-man crew today, not including myself, which makes it four of us. I have Mr. Keith Barnes to my left. What is going on, Keith?
Hello. I'm here. I'm one of the three or four.
Yeah, whatever. We, of course, have the engineer, Mr. Jake Berlin. What is up?
I just noticed that the image to my left on the screen says live every Saturday. That's my fault, guys. I forgot to change that image for the trio. But we are on Friday nights.
That's okay, yeah. Apocaflix Now on Friday nights.
We're in the future.
Yeah, we're shooting from the future. We're shooting from the future.
You guys voted. We're on Friday nights now.
That is correct.
Yes.
That was an actual poll.
Yeah.
I put a poll up on
Was
YouTube.
it actually?
Yeah.
More people voted for Friday over Saturday. So
Sweet.
Out of the 8 voters, no, it was.
no,
There's probably more. There's more by then.
You guys are introducing.
And we also have Brian Avellino over there in his favorite spot.
The lazy lounge.
Oh,
Yes.
But now, hold on.
Yes.
That shirt is Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Champions. What year?
The year that we won it.
That was before
Alex
scored.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
That was before
Make
Alex
sure.
scored.
Was it?
No, that was with Alex.
I was saying. We were there
Oh, that shirt needs to be burned. Actually, I bought that for you.
Yeah, this was your Christmas.
All right, we're
present.
not getting into this again, okay, guys? Again, we probably lost half our fan base last time when we talked about Astros for 30 minutes. No, it was a meaningful conversation, but yes. So today it's gonna be mostly a normal show. Yes, tonight is going to be mostly a normal show. We won't be doing You Haven't Seen What tonight because Gio couldn't make it and he was the one who was challenged, so we will be postponing that for next week, but we will be focusing on some movies that we've been watching and also some of the news topics. We'll spend a little bit more time on some of these news topics. There's actually a lot to talk about.
Well, there is a correction on his challenge, though. If you remember last week, we challenged him.
Good point.
Good
We
point,
challenged him
yes.
to watch 7 because we thought, I guess there was a
Well, he
mistake
did not
on
take
it.
the list. Like
He didn't exactly. So
We talked about 7 for like 5 minutes after that, too.
I know.
Just, he hasn't seen it. And,
It did seem odd because he's a
Yeah.
Fincher. He likes Fincher too. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he has seen 7. It turned out. So we well, we didn't vote. We went with
Keith just
the one
picked
I
one.
picked for him since I had the challenge.
That makes sense.
I voted
since
with
Keith
in my
was
head.
the one.
And, so he's going to watch American Gangster by Ridley Scott.
which I'm going to rewatch because I've only seen it once.
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely want to rewatch it since he's watched it.
Would I like it?
It's not slow.
Okay.
Well, it's not slow. It's very long. I think actually you would. I think you would. Yeah, because the cast is insane. We're talking Denzel, Russell Crowe, Josh Brolin.
Ridley Scott did this?
Yes.
It was just, that must have been the movie that after that he like catapulted downwards.
After that was I think you're right. That was his last
After that
because
year, correct?
well after.
Yeah, so I think this was like
So,
the last movie before he went to
I
like the crap bomb.
think you're right because I think didn't he do the Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a
This
lot
must have
of
been the Robin Hood was after.
I think
a
it was
lot
right
of bad
after.
movies in a row until the Martian
The
came out.
Martian was the one that
That
like
was the next.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
remember
Remember
exactly.
the counselor?
Oh my
I never
goodness!
saw that.
And I think
Don't ever see that. Cameron
saw
Diaz had sex with a car.
and Brad
heard
Pitt's in
about
that
that.
movie.
What?
I remember when that movie was coming out.
Hit. Really?
Yeah, Brad Pitt's in the movie.
I know that.
He has a cowboy hat in the movie.
The cast is stacked, and
Yeah, it's
everyone thought that
ridiculous.
movie was going to be amazing, and it
Yeah.
sucked. Yeah, so
Terrible.
but
Terrible.
no, Ridley Scott is an all-time great though. He definitely is.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
directed some great films, and he still got it. The Martian was a couple of years ago,
So,
and it
well,
was
Eugene and I went to go see that. We were like
nominated
blown
for
away by
Best
that
Picture.
movie.
Yeah, it was so good, so good. Well, anyway, since we don't have you haven't seen what this week, let's dive into some movies we've been watching recently, some things we've been watching recently. I know Keith is the only one who saw the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog. I've actually been wanting to go see it. I'm actually still going to go see it. I'm excited for it. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan. I hope he wasn't terrible in it. Keith, but go ahead and tell me, how was the movie? How was Jim Carrey?
Wait. Set up how it was before you went to go see this movie.
Yeah, what were your expectations, basically, right?
You were dreading
Yeah.
it.
Well, to be honest, not really. Because my daughter Emma, she's 7 years old. She was so excited to see it, and anytime I can take my kids to the movies, I'm all over that. With everything, obviously, not just because of that, but with everything that happened
Yeah.
with Kobe Bryant and stuff. Like any time I can
Yeah, and especially when
those
they're
times.
excited. Most of the time, you're taking them because you're excited.
But when she first told me like she wanted to see it, I was like, all right, I'll go. Sit through it and stuff. But the more I'm kind of looking at it, and she, like I said, she was so super excited about it. So I was like, yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Obviously, all the reviews you were getting that were saying, oh, no, it's actually pretty good and stuff. From different people that we all follow and stuff, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's clearly not terrible. So I went into it still kind of like, well, let's just see. It's a kid's movie, so that's what was my expectation for it. Like, this is going to be a full on just perfectly for someone her age at 7. It's made for her, so which it absolutely is. But it's a lot of fun. It's very cute. The Ben Schwartz, I think, voiced Sonic, and he's great. I mean, he's absolutely great.
He's from Parks and Rec.
Right.
I
don't know if he did it in. He's briefly in Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know if that's him or not. It kind of sounds like him. Yeah, at the very beginning.
Wait, which one?
Sonic. The first
I think he is in Wreck-It Ralph because I watched those recently.
Yeah, at the very beginning, he's kind of like telling people, if you die in your world, or if you die in another game, you die in.
He does do a lot of voice work.
So I think that is him. But no, it's really good. The thing that surprised me the most is the effects. We all know what a weird
they
thing
redid it. Yeah.
It's actually really good. It looks really good, and like the CG, the effects in this movie. I don't know what the budget is, but it looks really good. I was quite surprised,
and it did pretty well at the box office.
Yes,
surprisingly,
like 60 to 70, something like that.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of fun. It's classic Jim Carrey. He's actually really good. You can tell he's having a good time. Like it's not like he's not a phoned in. Like I'm just here to get
a paycheck.
Yeah, like no, you can tell he got into it. Now this kind of thing we haven't really seen him do in a while.
Yeah, the reworking of the animation looks amazing. The difference between it looks amazing.
I was really surprised by it. And
do you think you would have liked it had Sonic looked like he did?
It wouldn't have. I don't think it would have.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have worked because it looks so much more like the game. And, but it blends in really well with the real world, and I like the story. It's not anything. I never knew the story of Sonic the Hedgehog from the games.
Does he actually have a story?
Is there a story? I don't know.
I thought
there kind of is. I think in like the Sonic Adventure games, I think they actually.
I'm sure there is some storytelling in the games. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. But it's. I really like the Cyclops.
James Marsden.
James Marsden. I love James Marsden.
He was great in this.
Really?
He's really, really good.
He's underrated,
considering
man.
That he is, man. Considering that he's on Westworld and he does a lot of great stuff, but considering that he's acting with nothing.
A tennis ball.
It's it's really good. I like the actress that plays his wife. I don't know her name, but oh man, what's his name? Adam Pawley's in it, which I didn't know. He was really good. He was pretty funny. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cues, little things from the games. If you grew up, like we all grew up playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and so there's little things that you'll pick up on if you'll catch that are from the games. The little music cues that you're like, that's some music.
And
from
the little coin noise that. Was that what the noise is from? The little
ting.
Yeah. Or when he hits a thing, boing.
There's little things he does where he'll, like, there's one moment where he actually does roll into a little ball.
Really?
And he does it for a reason. So it's like when it happened, I went, I didn't realize that he hadn't done that. We're like, that is a Sonic thing. Like he rolls into a ball and crashes into stuff. So it's funny. Like I said, I was expecting there to be a lot of silly, like, bathroom humor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really not. And
that's great. I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
It's actually
that's funny that you said that because that's what I imagined it would be. Because the quickest way to get this type of movie to get me checked out is when they show a trailer and they're like, "I touched a butt." Like
those type of jokes, like fart jokes, poop jokes, any of those.
And you hear all the kids, and then I'm immediately I'm done.
You can make kids laugh without doing that.
Absolutely, and that's totally do
the trolls like that. Those movies, that's the humor immediately takes me
makes
out
you not
of
want to see it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Jim Carrey was good.
He's great.
Dr. Robotic. That's awesome,
man. Now there's the only negative I would say is and I'll wait till you guys see it, but I mean, just absolute relentless and shameless product placement in this movie.
Really? Wow.
Insane. This movie, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's a full-on commercial for Olive Garden, for Zillow, for what else? There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's worse than Power Rangers.
With the Krispy Kreme thing.
The Olive Garden stuff is
So
oh my God.
It's funny that you said that because I did see something on like Screen Rant. It said like Sonic in this movie is obsessed with Olive Garden. Be prepared or something like that.
It's not, what's his name? We just James Larson. Him and his wife are. Oh my God. It's yeah.
Damn. Someone had to pay for those reshoots.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, right. That's exactly. But other than that, though, it's really good. It's very cute. There's a nice couple little tags in the trailers. There's one right before the credits, and there's a mid-credits one that's really great.
I want to ask questions, but I don't want to spoil things for me because I want to ask about other characters maybe, but I'll just wait to see it. I'll just wait to see it for sure. But you actually made me more excited to go watch it. I'm surprisingly excited to watch
absolutely.
it.
And the people in the theater, there were obviously other families and other kids. There was this couple behind me that had their kid, but the parents were having the best time in the world, man. They were cracking up at everything.
Was there a lot of where SpongeBob makes a joke that adults are gonna get, but the kids aren't?
There's not as much as you would think. There may have been one or two, but that was mostly just kind of. It's pretty simple. Yeah. But it's a great family film, and or just honestly, I would say if we were still doing see it, skip it, save it, I would say see it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that because everyone was crapping on this movie before people started seeing it. Yeah. So that's great to hear. Jake, you've been watching a few things lately, man. What you been checking out?
I've been kind of catching up on a bunch of things. I mentioned in the notes that I finally watched Gemini Man. I was able to get a chance to watch Gemini Man.
Have you seen it?
I saw it in the theater.
Oh, nice.
I was the only one.
You haven't seen anyone.
It's not terrible by any means. It's really not. And I was fine with it. It's a movie that I'm probably going to forget about at some point, which is a bummer. But then I was, as the movie's ending and the credits are rolling, I noticed one thing. It was written by Benioff of Game of Thrones.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that.
He's one of the writers.
I didn't catch that at all. Wow.
And
interesting.
I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy really doesn't have good credits to his name after a couple seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I wonder, and Ang Lee had no part in the script, which is a huge problem because the script is bad.
That makes sense.
The script is bad.
Interesting.
Because I was watching it thinking this is an Ang Lee movie.
The script's
it's
bad.
so basic.
And it's exactly, it's very basic. And it kind of starts off in a very weird way. It thrusts you into it all very quickly and kind of very fast paced with everything. So if Ang Lee hadn't handed the script, this movie would have been 1,000 times better, which I wish they would have gone that route because the premise of the movie is actually really cool. The premise is sometimes, in other stuff, it is stuff we've seen before as action or storytelling, but as far as Will Smith versus Will Smith, that part of it, it's a very cool aspect. It just wasn't extended. It was very simplified and it was very boring in a way. And I'm kind of bummed that I watched this after Birds of Prey because Mary Elizabeth Winstead is
isn't she? She's so good in this movie.
So good in everything she's done ever since Cloverfield Lane when she first did that movie a number of years ago, and then ever since then she's been rising. She might be one of my favorite actresses working right now.
I mean, you almost said that before you saw Gemini Man.
She is so talented.
She's the main female character in this movie, right?
She's essentially a co-lead with Will Smith.
I remember her from the trailer.
First 5 minutes of the movie.
She was in 10 Cloverfield Lane, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
So they meet within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then she's in the rest of the movie with him.
Yeah.
It's essentially a partner. They're pretty much partners the entire film.
Right.
Okay.
And she goes up with him the entire time as far as acting goes, and so I was very impressed by that. I was very let down by the movie, which is a little bit of a bummer. But the second thing I've been watching, and I mention it all the time, and I know that, I've been catching up on my Vikings. Okay? I was behind on a few episodes. History Channel does this weird thing where they only allow so many episodes to watch, and because I got behind a few weeks, I had
it's on History Channel.
Yeah.
Oh, that was AMC.
But it's
if you miss some, you can't find it.
They only allow the last 2 episodes you can watch online or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So I had to find a different way to watch that.
TiVo it, man.
Well, we don't have a cable anymore. We don't have a cable anymore.
YouTube TV.
I know.
It's legit.
But no, so it's getting to a point where things are about to go bat crazy. like all the characters right now are like separated and they're on the different storylines. But Lagatha, who's the main woman, she's like she just murdered some massive dude. Now they've gotten to a point where in the show, like the Vikings, they all have their different clans, right? They all have like their different nations within Norway. It's now 6 seasons in, it's getting to a point where they're trying to elect one king of Norway, and you can see what kind of problems comes with that, especially with Vikings when they have axes and swords and that type of stuff. So it's awesome right now. And I can't, this show, man, everyone needs to watch this show.
I've been telling you, I want to watch it.
I'm saying it right now. If Vikings finishes the way it finishes, I like this show more than Game of Thrones.
Well, I was going to say, not that it's similar, not that it's the same, but I need that Game of Thrones fix. I need that Sword and Sandal fix.
It's Game of Thrones on a smaller level, but it's way more consistent.
And I was going to ask you, I think it's on Hulu.
What?
I think they have all the seasons on Hulu.
Y'all better watch by next week.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I think because Hulu kind of does the same thing sometimes.
Where they'll
only show like the last 4 episodes or something.
I'm hoping that you can watch just the whole series on Hulu.
I
because there's no other way to watch it.
Actually, I already know you're going to say yes, but I'm assuming it's better than The Last Kingdom.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, really?
You know how much I love The Last Kingdom. The Last Kingdom is another Viking show on Netflix.
Jacob, you want to watch?
Bonkers good.
You want something to fix your Game of Thrones?
So yes, that will fix the Game of Thrones. But I'll say this: the character of Ragnar Lothbrok is better than Uber in Last Kingdom.
You mean Uhtred?
Uhtred, sorry, not Uber. Uhtred.
I was like Uber.
Ragnar is on the level of Jon Snow when he was at his height.
Okay.
That's how big he is of a character.
Even before you told me about it, Vikings always looked interesting. There's no time to watch everything, but I do need to get on that.
Is there magic in this?
No.
So is it based on Norse mythology? Is there any Norse?
Yes, but they kind of play with the idea of magic, but it never fully embraces it. It's full on ground stuff like fighting.
They probably talk about the gods as if they believe in them and stuff.
It's
maybe they don't show it. Yeah,
Norse mythology stuff. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. I gotta check it out.
I'm looking for you.
Yeah. Brian, you watched a movie recently that you had not seen.
I watched two
very
movies
popular franchise.
Yes, it is on Hulu.
The whole series? Well, it is on Hulu, but I'm wondering if it's on.
We can find this out later.
If you can,
move on to Indy.
It's the first 5.
Okay.
So it's in season 6 right now.
Yes. So I had obviously the 3-day weekend last weekend and went kind of movies that I haven't seen that I keep hearing either people talk about or I should see just to see. And we had talked about Indiana Jones last week, and so I was like,
we talked about this movie on
yeah. And so I was just like, all right, screw it, I'll watch it just to see what it was. I find myself very conflicted because part of me was like, oh, this is kind of cool at some parts. And the other part, I'm like, dear God, why are they ever making another one? I was just like, there was a lot of parts where Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones is doing stuff, and I'm like, you're too old to do that. You shouldn't be doing that.
And they're making another one with Harrison Ford.
12 years later.
And that's where it left me after watching it going, how are they going to make another one? How is he going to do these things?
Any of that.
Run. Yeah, exactly. Or a lot of something that took me out of it was when Shia LaBeouf was Tarzaning through
with the monkeys?
Yes, with the monkeys. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, no, stop. But
and can you believe that Steven Spielberg directed this movie?
That's what blew me away.
It proves that even the best aren't perfect. He has maybe a couple bad movies on his resume.
Yeah, but it was just what is...
Which one of their idea was it Luke? Because it seemed like a bunch of stuff Lucas had in mind he wanted to do probably 15 years earlier.
They should have done the Frank Darabont script.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that's right. Yeah.
I don't know
because George Lucas was involved. He's like, nope, you're not touching him, nope.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why people didn't take Shia LaBeouf seriously for so long.
And now look at
Which is funny because I actually didn't mind him. his character.
Yeah, they just
did
associate him
stupid
with the
things.
movie, and he's Indy's son, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
turns out, yeah.
Like
He's a greaser.
yeah.
Right.
What time era is this movie set in?
50s.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
McCarthyism.
He needs to be fighting Nazis.
What do you think
Yeah.
of Kate Blanchett?
He needs to be
I thought
fighting
she was awesome.
Nazis.
Really?
I love Kate.
How
Blanchett.
can they
totally
fight Nazis
haven't-
if it's in
He's
the
gotta
future?
be
Like,
fighting Nazis.
they got to make it
They
like,
could be Nazis in the 70s.
yeah, they'll do
Look
it like
at the
Winter.
show right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they can be fighting
Or
Nazis.
like Winter Soldier, how Hydra's in modern day, something
but
like
he's not
that.
fighting it. He's an archaeologist who's trying to get a thing.
Look, okay,
To put it in a
I will
museum.
say this. Look, is it weird that they're going to do another one with him being almost 80 years old? Yes. But there is 1,000% a way where you can do it.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
You for sure can find a way where he's not involved in it, where he's like, not mentoring, but almost in a way where someone kind of picks up the slack. Because they were going to do that with River Phoenix. Like, they kind of teased it in a way before he passed with the opening scene of that movie. And they could easily do it again now that he's older. Like, they can find someone to step in the role. Or it's a story where he's telling a story as an older man and someone's playing him as a younger guy.
But that's what River Phoenix was doing. He was playing him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but maybe it's where he's telling a story and someone like Bradley Cooper steps in and plays Indy. But it's still Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones in the future.
I don't know if
Like,
Harrison Ford would be okay with that.
Alden Ehrenreich.
I don't think Harrison Ford would care.
Just every single
No.
young
To
intern.
have him every.
I actually like Alden Ehrenreich. I want him to do well in the future, but no. No, he doesn't need
Would
to
you
play.
be fine for Solo 2 if it was him still?
I would.
Or a TV series.
Because we already got him as Solo,
Okay.
and I was okay with him as
thought
Solo.
he was fine.
I liked him.
Yeah, that's different. He just doesn't need to play another Harrison Ford iconic figure.
I mean, I had no problem with Shia LaBeouf in this. He was just doing stupid things, but which obviously as the actor he had no control over, like swinging from vines and monkeys chasing him, like stuff like that. But like anytime he was like doing stuff, like I thought he was pretty funny, like
He was just being normal.
like bantering with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed that, but things like the monkeys was what took me out of it. And I actually didn't mind the like crystal skull, like the alien thing. I thought it was kind of
Brian. Indiana Jones cannot have aliens.
I know.
It's okay, Brian. Give your opinion. Well, Brian, give your
I
opinion.
will say this:
No.
the ending with it shooting off into the sky, like that was a little too much.
Silly.
I wouldn't have mind if the alien ended up just being like something, I don't know, that they might have found and just left it like wide open. But like when it started like moving and then shoot off into space, like I was just like,
He needs to be fighting Nazis,
It's a world.
Russians, or corrupt Americans. That's what he needs to
It's a world where magic does exist. I mean, the Ark of the Covenant.
You cannot have aliens.
Okay, the second one.
I was gonna say there's supernatural. There's supernatural elements in them.
Yeah,
aliens.
the guy pulled his heart out of his chest. and
Aliens
set it
are
on
more
fire.
realistic than
aliens.
supernatural things.
The
though.
Akar stones were all magic.
Yeah. No, it's far more likely in our real world that aliens exist than the supernatural stuff that happens in the first three Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, disagree.
okay.
I would
No matter.
for
Yeah.
that.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm.
Oh, 1,000% aliens
what?
exist.
You or me say he will never agree with us when it comes to Indiana Jones.
No, aliens and Indiana Jones don't go well together. I'm sorry, they don't.
There's ghosts.
I don't
They
care
opened up the
either
Ark
way.
of the Covenant and ghosts and stuff
That
come out.
works.
And
You know why?
the guy,
You want to know why that
face
works?
melted and
Because
turned
Nazis did
into.
it. That's why it works.
Okay, and now so
That's why we're-
communists are trying to get alien technology.
And for you, Keith, I did actually also watch Zombieland 2.
Hey,
Yes.
that
Finally.
was so good, man.
That movie
So
was pretty
great.
funny.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
so
It was definitely fun.
I was sweating there when he was hanging on the.
Well, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, he's seen it.
The scene where he finds out that she's dating someone.
Oh my! That was amazing.
I
Yes.
died in the
Yeah.
theater. I was crying.
It
I was legitimately
So
crying.
that was the
laughing.
scene where you were freaked.
Yes, I was
Okay.
legit. Well, oh, I could not hold myself still.
Berkeley.
I want to, before we move on real quick, because we talked about Woody Harrelson, and I know Brian knows this, but I wanted just to tease something real quick. I don't know if it'll actually be seen or not, but
Woody Harrelson's coming on the show.
no. But
Almost.
Gabby was an extra in Venom 2 earlier this week.
What?
And she was in a scene with both Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson.
No
Really?
way.
Her car is she was in a shot, and she's in her car driving up and down the street, passing Woody Harrelson. And so she was on set for about 8 to 10 hours with them in San Francisco.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
We're going to see Gabby on the show.
Can she give us some scoops?
When we go see that movie, we're going to have to look out for her.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Gabby, good job, man.
That's awesome.
So,
real quick, I haven't watched much new recently, but I do want to say I've been catching up on the Arrowverse. I was behind a little bit. And this is crazy to me. I never thought the day would come where I'd say this, but right now, Legends of Tomorrow might be the best show on the Arrowverse.
It has been for a while.
Crazy.
It has been for a while.
And have you watched it this season?
This season? No.
So, and if not Legends of Tomorrow, then Batwoman. Batwoman is actually great.
Did you watch this week?
And I think so. But, yes, I did. Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, no, I don't want to say.
I think so, yes. Okay,
no, because we could say one thing that would say whether or not we watched it or not.
Yeah.
And it, they would spoil something though. But the Alice character is so amazing. The actress who plays Alice is, same actress, but
I'm saying which Alice.
Yeah, the evil Alice.
Yeah, dude.
She is incredible. The actress is amazing. She's better than the character is better than Batwoman.
She's better than Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah, I wouldn't honestly.
She's Batwoman's Joker.
Her villain is like it's a little over the top, but on purpose, and it's done very well.
Yeah.
That character and the flashbacks to her character. Oh my goodness, insane! It's some of the best stuff they've ever done on the Arrowverse. But surprisingly, I did not expect Legends to be my favorite season this year.
See, it's been good for
and
a long time.
It so
a long time.
The thing is,
It's been good for a long time.
There's been bad seasons or episodes on Legends. But the thing, what they're doing is they know it's cheesy, so they're embracing it. This season is a mockumentary.
What?
This season is a mockumentary, and they after the
like The Office.
Exactly after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, they do an episode where it's like Meet the Legends, and they're like celebrities now, and there's the camera crew following them around and everything, and it's done so cleverly. Like, I am shocked. It's really well. I definitely recommend checking it out.
I'm so glad that because of Legends, obviously they're not on an Earth essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that the multiverse is kind of concluded into one Earth because they can be seen on their shows now.
Exactly.
Just their own. But I will say quickly on Batwoman, it's perfect that it's picking up steam now because. It essentially is the replacement for Arrow, and so it kind of needs to hold that down for a little bit. And so it's a good sign.
These shows, these CW shows, the superhero ones, they do really well for the first couple seasons. Like, I feel like it's just so fresh, you know?
Flash needs to end.
Yeah, Flash is still not...
Iris West, man.
Dude, I used to love that show. It's not just her, but it's just the overall show's not good.
They're totally just trashing.
And I hate how they find ways. They're like, the actor who plays Cisco doesn't want to be on the show anymore, so let's come up with some stupid plot for him to leave. Dumb stuff.
He doesn't want to be on the... I didn't hear that.
He went away for a while.
He needs to take some time and get out of Central City to think. What?
And he has a girlfriend who's staying back with the group.
Get out of here. That's ridiculous. Anyways.
Is the villain still the Dr. Blood guy?
No,
the villain?
thank goodness.
He finished before the...
Thank goodness.
Oh, really?
I will say, the new intros to all the shows are amazing.
They're great. Yeah. They changed everything after the Crisis. They changed everything around.
The intros, the logos, they're all amazing. The music is all different. That's awesome. Well, with that being said, just want to tell you guys about our other shows on the Apocaflix YouTube channel. We do a show called the Padawan Podcast where we talk all things Star Wars. We do a show called Nerd Nation where we talk all things superheroes and comic book related. We do a show called The Casting Table where we cast our favorite characters using our favorite actors and who we might want to play them. And don't forget that the Padawan and Nerd are weekly and Casting Table is bi-weekly. And please leave comments and leave topics in the comment section and we might read them at the end of each episode. We would really appreciate that. And with that being said, Jake, what do we have for the movie news rundown?
Pretty packed week with some stuff. Not a whole lot of trailers, which helped us out as far as news-wise. But Mulan is the first official Disney live-action remake to be rated PG-13. Jennifer Lawrence is the star in Adam McKay's Netflix Meteor satire film, which they added that is being essentially rushed to production. They want to get it going pretty quickly. Ben Affleck opens up about his Batman departure and kind of goes into detail and gets candid about that whole situation. Harrison Ford doesn't know what a Force Ghost is and does not care. And Planet of the Apes, the Westball film, is not going to be a reboot, but it's going to be a continuation of the Caesar legacy, as they call it. So, what do we want to talk about, guys?
Harrison Ford doesn't know what a Force Ghost is and doesn't care. In other news, water wet.
I'm so glad you picked this one.
Let me read the quote. Okay, so he was in a conversation with USA Today for Call of the Wild, and he was asked about Star Wars and Force Ghosts and stuff like that, and he said the following: a Force Ghost, I don't know what a Force Ghost is. Don't tell anyone. I'm not talking loud enough for your recorder. I have no effing idea what a Force Ghost is. I don't care. And later he said this about JJ convincing him to return. He said, when JJ asked me to do it, I said, are you kidding? I'm dead. He said, sort of dead. You can do this. He hadn't written anything at that time, but he said, this is going to be great. So I said, okay, if JJ asks you to do something, you'd probably do it too. He's a very persuasive guy. I will say this before Keith starts going on. I will say this, that whatever, like, let Harrison Ford say whatever he wants about it. Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I just think it's really funny. I just think it's a really funny comment, and it's a total Harrison Ford type of thing.
I love him.
So,
he is such...
It's very typical to say that.
That's why I said in other news, water wet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure what you were going to do with this.
He is such, like, a grumpy old man.
I was going to say that,
in the best possible way. And
he was grumpy 40 years ago. And
that's what I'm saying. It's just his whole personality. It's just such a crotchety, grumpy old man that is just like you absolutely love. Because he doesn't give a flying you-know-what about a Force Ghost and the mythology of Star Wars. He knows he's Han Solo. And that's pretty much all. And Chewbacca is his best friend with the Millennium Falcon, and that's pretty much all he cares about, really. And anytime he says something like that, it just makes me love him more. So
yeah,
funny.
I was not surprised to see this at all. I would be surprised if he did know what a Force Ghost was, because the thing is, no one ever said Force Ghost in a Star Wars movie. No. It's all fans named them Force Ghosts. So even if he's just going based on what he's seen in the movie and in the scripts, he wouldn't know what a Force Ghost is. He doesn't pay attention to the fan base or the mythology or anything like that. And as much as Star Wars fans might want to get mad, he doesn't have to. Mm-mm. He's a paid actor. All he has to do is show up to set and read his lines and act his butt off, because he's great. He's even great in The Force Awakens and in The Rise of Skywalker. His scene, even though maybe the context of the scene doesn't make sense in The Rise of Skywalker, his performance is...
Yeah, it's good. It's a great scene.
He's still a great actor.
Important scene.
Still a great... I actually don't mind that scene at all. I actually like that scene. Some people have an issue with him showing up at all, but I really like this. It should have been Carrie Fisher, but it couldn't have been. But I should
have been Luke.
Oh, yeah, maybe actually, because... Yeah, something.
I actually think it stayed how it was.
It's fine.
Because it kind of came full circle. It put it
tied back to the Force Awakens.
So when it was like that, I still believe in you, and then he finally decides he's not going to be bad anymore, and he's like, I'm happy you chose right.
God.
Yeah. I just want to say real quick.
Let's move on before Keith gets on a tangent over here.
I was going to bring up something else.
Well, I just want to say really quick, because we're probably not going to talk about this one for that long, but Jennifer Lawrence starring in the Adam McKay film. I love Adam McKay. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. And I hope this is a Anchorman type movie with meteorologists or whatever it's going to be. I just hope, and I love Jennifer Lawrence. We were talking about her last week. People need to stop giving her crap. She's awesome. She's great. So I'm excited for this movie.
So he said when the project was first kind of put out there last year, McKay described it as a dark satire in the school of Wag the Dog, Doctor Strangelove, and Network. And he said, if it is half as good as any of them, I will be happy.
Wag the Dog is great.
So that's okay. That's how he's approaching the film.
Okay.
I don't really know anything about that.
Well, he's being taken seriously as a filmmaker nowadays, too, not just for comedy. Totally. I have a feeling it'll probably be a good mixture of comedy and not seriousness, but just being like an overall great film.
Deadline is saying that the film is going to start production in April and for release later this year.
Interesting.
Well, if it's Netflix, they burn through those things.
I don't know if it's going to be. If it's like it's a fake created meteor story.
And I think they're going for it for the awards. Is what
you
think it's? Is it?
I'm interested now.
In the vein of like What We Do in the Shadows, like that type of humor.
No, McKay's no.
Well, if you look at his last 2 films, Vice and The Big Short, it's gonna be something like that.
Those. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know Vice. Yeah. I love Vice.
It's gonna be something like that where there's a real world issue going on, but around it there's a lot of satire. So
didn't realize I'm horrible with directors, but I loved Vice.
He also directed Anchorman.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Ben Affleck? Do we want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
I think we should.
Talking about the Batman situation. Let me go ahead and read his comments real quick. So he was in a candid conversation with New York Times, and it says the actor and the filmmaker opened up on how he began drinking heavily while his marriage was falling apart. I drank relatively normal for a long time. What happened was I started drinking more and more when my marriage was falling apart. This was in 2015. 2016, my drinking, of course, created more marital problems. And then he went on to say stuff about Batman, and he said, I showed somebody the Batman script, Affleck recalled. They said, I think the script is good. I also think you'll drink yourself to death if you go through what you just went through again. Speaking of the Justice League stuff, and how he was kind of struggling during that because Justice League production was going on during his drinking and marital issues. And so he opened up freely and said, look, man, this possibly was one of the worst decisions I ever made because it just affected me as a human being. And I know that when he originally took the part, he said that he did it for his kids and he wanted his kids to see him as Batman, but it affected him personally. And I give him all the credit in the world for stepping back on such a big role and kind of reevaluating and being like, I can't do this anymore. So it's kind of a big thing because a lot of actors would not come out about this. They would not say a single word about something like this. So,
well, that was his biggest regret was getting divorced. Just that makes me sad just to see, he lost his family. And I'm sure they're still cordial and they do what they can. But yeah, I saw that headline about that, and I felt really bad for him, And obviously for Jennifer Garner, there's been a lot of comments where she's a millionaire and she's got nannies and everybody's taking care of it. Shut up, all of you saying that stuff. First of all, Jennifer Garner's not that type of. She's I'm sure quite present.
Yeah, I mean, she's not doing very many acting things.
She doesn't act that. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't act that much. So I'm sure she's quite a present mother with her kids, despite obviously being a high profile person in a formerly high profile relationship. She's trying to keep it as normal as possible, and she has a great podcast. I don't know if anyone's ever.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Really, really good. Yeah, she's really great. So, yeah, but I feel bad for both of them. I actually genuinely hope that. Whatever it is, like I generally wouldn't. Just people we don't know as celebrities, but we're fans of both, and for a long time, I hope they can work through it, like to keep going forward. Yeah, it's sad, but I hope they can.
To be fair, I don't think really I haven't come across people that absolutely hated him as Batman. Most people I talked to liked him as Batman. So to his credit, like he was able to pull off a pretty awesome. I liked him as Batman while all of this horrible stuff was going on, and for him to be able to, if you're able to take yourself out of that situation with all the pressures, money, all that stuff, more credit to you.
Well, that scrutiny of just being that character. It's one of those characters where you're just going to be scrutinized forever. He probably will be anyway, just because he did it for 2 movies. But
I mean, look at Robert Pattinson. People are already hating on him, and it's literally you haven't seen anything really.
About next year.
Yeah.
So the New York Times piece, the profile said he said that the cursed shoot of Justice League snapped his interest in returning as the character.
Yeah. So that was already
the main things that kind of.
Because the other stuff alone was already a mess, so I'm sure it didn't help.
So that's a bummer because he was writing and directing and acting in that movie, and that Justice League essentially just washed all that away.
Yeah, no. Until I read this story, I was still mad that he was not playing Batman anymore. I'm no longer upset about that at all because this was beyond movies. This was beyond entertainment or anything like that. I didn't know that playing the Batman role was affecting him so much. I thought it was the outside things and that the Batman thing was just something on top of it, but it was the playing the Batman role and all the scrutiny and all of that negative feedback from Batman v Superman and all that stuff was playing into his alcoholism and everything like that. Yeah. And it's not like people didn't know he's been in and out of rehab. He's struggled with addiction for years. Yeah. And I've always felt for him for that. And I'm a huge fan of Ben Affleck, and I think he's one of the best young directors working today. And he's still, even like his worst film, Live by Night, is still a really good movie. But I am okay with him letting this role go for his personal reasons, and that's totally fine. And we're getting a new Batman, so that's okay. But I just want to say I hope he gets better, because addiction is no joke. It is a disease, and it's something that people can't really help, so I really hope that he can continue and get better. And that's why I want to see the new movie coming out, The Way Back, because it's so crazy, because it's almost like he's playing himself in this movie.
Yeah. That's what he talked about that, and apparently there's a couple scenes of the scene where it's very similar to I guess this character is also losing his family as well. Yeah. And he has this breakdown where the director was saying like it was real, like he was really,
he's absolutely drawing from his real personal life for that.
Like everyone else was crying and like crying with him, and so yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing that. And alcoholism, this goes without saying, it sucks. It really does. So I hate seeing it. See, he seemed like a really good guy, a genuinely good guy, So I don't know. This, like you said, I hope he can continue to get better, continue to work at it, and get through it.
Yeah. Because up until now, he was the best Batman for me. He was my favorite Batman. The Batman in Batman v Superman is my favorite Batman of all time.
To agree, to be honest.
And that's fine. We got it once. And the thing is, he wasn't just turning down a big role. This was his dream to play Batman. He is one of the biggest Batman fans on this planet. He has a Batcave. He has his own Batcave in one of his houses. I don't know if he still has it or not, but at one point he built his own Batcave. So he's not just letting go of a major role. It's like his dream.
Apparently, his script was pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I
wonder how much of it maybe Matt Reeves might be using, if at all. But that's the word is, the script was pretty good, and he just didn't want to do it. So
it's all right. Battinson is going to kill it. He's gonna do a great job. Any other news stories you guys want to touch on?
Are we surprised Mulan's PG-13? Because I'm not.
No, I never thought about it, but I assumed it was going to be.
Yeah, because I did too.
What the film is.
Oh, I think just because it's an animated classic, and then the live action version is going to be PG-13. I can kind of see why it's kind of making news in that sense. But
are you?
It'd be like a live action Toy Story being PG-13.
Yeah,
but,
it's a war movie.
Yeah, it's a full-on movie about two sides battling each other.
A lot of arrows,
and they're giving it more of a serious take. And there's no
swords and arrows.
It's not the animated musical. It's a serious attempt at telling the true story behind Mulan, or the tale of Mulan, I should say. So
a true story of a lady turning into a bird and
funny thing though,
I'm actually kind of excited for that.
A woman at work is of Asian descent, and we were having a conversation about the movie, and she was saying that the original story, the tale, is like over years of her hiding as a male. And when she comes back from being a male, she actually has like white hair. And
she's older.
So old.
Yeah, and so like I don't know how much of it I like got off of her, but it seems like the true tale is like Mulan wasn't there for just like weeks or months. Like she was there for years acting as a male, acting for her family. And so obviously for movie purposes you have to do it a different way, but I mean that's true. That's pretty crazy that that's actually what happened.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
That's next month.
Could be one of the best movies of the year.
That it's our number one.
No.
Okay, never mind.
You just did, Brian. You just did. Well, our last story that we haven't talked about is that Planet of the Apes, the movie, the next movie that they're doing, directed by Wes Ball, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is not going to be a reboot. It's going to be a continuation. I just want to say, I'm all for that. What they're going to tell Caesar's story again? No, we just saw it. I'm okay with the continuation.
So there was a rumor going around early this week that this movie was going to be a remake of the original.
I see. Okay.
The original.
Okay. So not a reboot of Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Of
Yeah.
the recent ones of the original Charlton Heston one, and Westfall himself shot it down and said, no, this is going to be a continuation of, and they're calling it Caesar's Legacy. And so I have a feeling it's just going to pick up however many years afterwards, and we're going to see a Planet of the Apes, and the trilogy might tell of how Earth goes from humanity to apes taking over, leading into that movie, which is what I always thought was going to happen because that's what I want to see. These three movies, they taught us or showed us how humans lost the Earth and how apes became who they are in the original movie. Now I want these 1, 2, 3 movies to tell us how apes take over the planet completely, how they start walking, how they start talking, and we saw bits and pieces of that in the movie. But I want to see how it's fully realized, how they become the humans on the planet rather than us.
How they become more civilized.
Yes.
How we start seeing their structure in terms of their what's the word?
Essentially, how we began.
Like,
How we began of us going from ape to man, of how they're going from ape to man as well, but like staying in the ape bodies and how it was in the original movies. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like I would love if it's a trilogy. I would love for the trilogy to end with the opening scene of the original movie.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And just literally a direct lead into that original movie. Like that would be amazing.
Well, we saw in the first one, Dawn? Rise. Okay.
It should have been Dawn.
The launch
should have been Dawn. Rise is the Dawn and Dawn is the Rise.
But we saw the little news in the background. We saw the launch, and then we saw that they're lost. So that's that crew.
Oh, so I was gonna ask. So is that what happens? They come back to Earth, and it's now up.
Yes.
But are they like caught in some like time thing where they don't age?
They don't know that they do. They just come back.
Yeah.
And they land on a planet.
But it's like hundreds of years later.
They think it's another planet.
It's like 1,000.
Yeah, and then like the twist is that it's Earth.
Yeah. Do you know the spoiler at the end?
Well, don't you see like the White House or something?
They see the Statue of Liberty laid in the beach.
Oh yeah.
And that's when they find out that it's Earth.
Oh my God,
Charlton Heston on the ground as he's yelling.
Right.
And the movie ends.
He's just mad because we've ruined Earth, and now these. It's like
it's one of the greatest spoiler moments.
I do think not that this first movie in the West Ball series is gonna be that movie, but I think it will lead to that movie.
I hope it's the third if it's a trilogy.
Yeah.
I hope it's the third one, not the first one. I want to see 3 movies of it building up to that moment.
Yeah.
Because
the Tim Burton one where
Mark
Wahlberg and he goes back to Earth and the Abraham Lincoln statue is an ape.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. But no. I know about the original Charlton Heston one, but I was thinking like
the original is brilliant.
I was thinking of the White House when.
I haven't seen it in a while, but correct me if I'm wrong, Keith. The original is like. Caesar's he's like a mythological legend, correct?
Yes.
And that's what they're getting to.
He's almost. I always thought he was some kind of deity. That's almost the way they talk. They talk about him like he's. Yeah.
That's what he's talking about as far as Caesar's legacy. That's what he wants to do is build that story to where or he implements Caesar as like this god who seems so larger than life that it's hard to believe.
He started it.
He's like the original quiz, and they teach the kids about him.
Exactly.
And
he's the reason they exist.
Right. They almost kind of praise
an actual
Caesar
in the original.
No, it's just by name.
They don't show him.
He's been dead for hundreds of years at that
It's
point.
based on a name.
And that the Rise one is so underrated. All 3 of those movies are great.
Well, here's what's very interesting is that you don't have to go too far into the future to get to the Charlton Heston moment because the little girl in War
just about to say
Apes,
I can't remember her name.
Is
they say she's the character.
In Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And so it's at most. I would say at most 30 years.
I was thinking that, yeah.
At most. You could probably put it around 20 because she's about, 6, 7, maybe 10 years old?
Yeah.
You put her around a 30-year-old in the original Planet of the Apes movie?
It's bizarre because
it's not that far off.
It was like
it would take them a lot longer to get to that point.
So close together.
Close together.
Yeah. So I haven't seen the original, but is she a human who's living on the planet of the apes already?
Yes, but she's a prisoner.
Once they come back,
she's a prisoner. And she doesn't speak.
Right.
Oh, because she grew up nobody taught her how to speak.
The human civilization in the original Planet of the Apes,
it all just
it's all flips. We're the apes.
Yeah.
They keep us as
like,
pets.
Yeah, like it
Pretty much.
completely shifts,
Yeah.
and that's what I think these movies are going to tell.
Yeah, that's
Which
exciting.
is super cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
I hope
Because you love those ones.
Ah, dude. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so
they
good.
are.
They're
And I
good.
like Wes Ball. He did the Maze Runner movies.
Yeah.
I really like he knows how to deal with scope. The movies weren't great, but
Well, they're like post-apocalyptic movies, which is similar to
he knows
this.
how to do that, and I like him as a director, and I think that he can, if he feeds off of what Matt Reeves did with these movies, and Fox behind him and everything, I think it could be really cool.
We're pointing at a Caesar.
Yeah,
Fox.
It's a more of a
Fox,
yeah,
Disney.
sorry.
Yeah,
Disney, that's right. Yeah,
I
I'm
just
good with
hope that because the last one didn't do that well at the box office, so I'm glad Disney
Which is crazy.
and
It's
Fox
so good.
is giving it another
I
shot
saw that one actually at the box. Oh, duh. We
in the
went
movie
some-
theaters.
Theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you got that poster. Yeah.
Shame.
That is one of the better movie theater posters that they give
Absolutely.
out. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but it's the orange one with the orange in the background and Caesar's on a horse.
And I usually don't like Cinemark posters. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah, because
it's actually double
A
sided.
lot of ours are from IMAX. Yeah.
It's double sided.
Yeah.
Good poster.
All right. Well, before we go over to Brian over there for maybe some comments, it's been a little light this week.
Yeah, very light.
Let me just tell you a little bit about our podcast that you can find in audio form. You can find us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you find podcasts, and that'll be at Apocaflix Movies. Of course, this show is on there, the Padawan Podcast, Nerd Nation Casting Call, and our Star Wars review special called The Fandalorian Club. We just did a review of Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 1, The Bad Batch, which that was a super fun conversation, super good episode, so go check that out. And please don't only subscribe to us on those podcast formats, but please leave a comment and rate us. That would really, really help us out in addition to subscribing. All right, Brian, what do we have for comments this week?
So, like we said, very few this week. We're probably going to get a bunch for Fandalorian after we do this.
I hope so.
One person, Creepy Coconuts is the name. Some of these names,
What?
I love you guys' names sometimes.
That's a good name.
Left a comment for Robin Hood Men in Tights 25th anniversary trailer reaction and put Men in Tights and Spaceballs are my favorite Mel Brooks movies. Yeah.
I'm saying it right now. Rick Moranis coming out of retirement. They're doing Spaceballs too.
You think?
I'm saying it right now. I'll put $100 on it.
Oh, wow.
They're doing
Well,
Spaceballs too.
there's a lot you can do with
Mark
it.
Helmet needs to return for the Schwartz.
And you know how much they're going to make fun of the sequel trilogy?
Exactly. It's the prime position to do it.
Oh, my
It is
goodness.
so perfect to do it right now.
That movie
I
will-
didn't even think about the
People
idea.
would
of
love to
using
see that.
The new ones.
What studio made Spaceballs? Was it Fox? I don't even know.
I think it might have been Fox.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dang, I didn't even think about the fact that they could just go off the new trilogy. That could be good. But yeah, another one that we have from where'd it go? I lost it. It was the Naked Gun 30-year anniversary trailer reaction. It said, check out 6-episode Police Squad. So many wish we had gotten more than 6, as all 3 movies are just jokes from the TV show that was canceled for literally being too funny. I have no idea what that is.
I think you and I did that.
Yeah, it was actually. You
Right,
and I
us?
did.
Yeah, I remember that.
I have no idea. What is Police
Police
Squad a
Yes.
TV show?
So it's a TV series that Naked Gun is based on. Or Naked Gun is a kind of a spin-off movie from a TV show called Police Squad, which was essentially the same thing.
Really?
Yes.
I did not
That's
know
why
that.
the title of the movie is Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad.
I did not know
So,
that. That's because Naked Gun is so popular and no one ever talks about that show.
Yeah.
Canceled for being too funny. I like
pretty
that.
much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then just a nice comment from Trap Country for the casting table for who's the right fit to Hunter to play Kraven the Hunter in this Kraven movie or Spider-Man, and just put lovely video. But yeah,
Lovely video. Well, thank you.
Trap.
Spaceballs is MGM.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just wondering who. I guess they would have the rights to it still. Maybe. I don't know.
It's a company that has Creed and a number of others. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think MGM is one of those companies that uses other studios with them.
Oh yeah, I think they're like a production company.
They're like a Skydance production.
Yeah.
Skydance uses like Paramount.
Exactly.
Columbia
Yeah.
do that too, or
Columbia is a Sony company, so Columbia and Sony. Yeah, so they might do something like that.
Yeah. So
Alrighty, well that's gonna wrap it up for this week of Apocaflix Now. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Again, I am Jacob Bartley. This is Keith Barnes. That is Jake Berlin, and that is Brian Avalosino. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment in the comment section and hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. See you all next time.